So how did you get into audio engineering? Was it self-taught or?
No, I wasn't self-taught. So my very first two albums, which came out, my very first album came out in 2000, my very first one. And that was after I moved to Atlanta. We're jumping we're jumping past high school and past, my early 20s, my late teens, early 20s. I moved to Atlanta because I really wanted to get serious with it. And where I'm from, there was no chance of just taking off doing it. There's no connections. So I moved to the Mecca, right? I moved to the southern Mecca, at least. You know what I'm saying? And I moved there to just, to get my feet in the game. And I met some producers. The first producer that I met was a guy named Doxo, DJ Fonzo, and he was the first person to actually give me my own beats. This is the first time I actually wasn't rapping on somebody else's stuff. He was like, yo, you can really rap. Like, I got beats. And he gave me tracks. And he was the first person to put me in his studio, right, to actually record myself. So, love him to death. But I noticed that most of the money that I was spending and most of the stuff that it cost for me to produce my first album, I paid most of the money for production and, studio time. I paid thousands. This is thousands of dollars. This was before Pro Tools really just, we're on ADATs.
Big studios.
So I'm spending thousands of dollars to make independently, by the way. You know what I'm saying? This is money I done worked and hustle up myself. So I'm financing my own indie thing. And after that first one, after I spent all that money, I got my first album and I was so happy and everything, but I was like, I was ready to do another one. And I was like, man, I just spent racks on getting it. So, I knew that I could keep a beat because I'm a drummer, like by nature. So I just didn't know how to work the drum machines. I didn't know how to work the machines. So I ended up running across a guy named, shout out to my guy, DJ Black. Me and I had a spot that me and my homegirl Nikki Dangerous was sharing. We were roommates, and then DJ Black came because it was a house. We were sharing a house. And then DJ Black moved in, so it was three of us, me, her, and DJ Black, and we were sharing the crib. She was an artist, he's a producer, the DJ. So he sat and showed me how to actually work a Triton, how to work a Phantom, how to work a MPC, right? And so I actually learned how to be a producer first before I learned how to be an engineer. So in my second album, I hadn't necessarily learned how to be an engineer yet, but I learned how to produce, right? And so once I produced like half of the tracks on my second album. So I was like, listen, I still played for studio time though. That time I was like, this is my last time paying for studio time. At that point, I was like, because right. After I realized I could produce, and I just realized it's really just learning menus and tech and stuff. I was like, I can do this. I can do this. And so I actually went back to school. I went to AIU here in Atlanta, and I went to because that was like back then. That's before Georgia State had their program and everything. They were like the only place in Atlanta that actually had a studio, a hands-on learning studio, and they had Pro Tools and everything. So I went to AIU to learn how to actual audio engineer. So I actually went to school to learn.
Oh, okay. So I didn't know you went to AIU. For some reason, I thought you went in Florida.
No. Everybody, because I know so many people that that went to school down there, and so at Full Sail, I know so many people that went there, and so people be thinking that, but no, I actually went to AIU up here.
Gotcha.